What is going on, everybody? So I'm back today to talk about a new film that was uploaded to Shudder recently. That's not a Shudder original, but it was a movie that came out last year that they were promoting that was announced as a horror comedy. And I always love horror comedies. I know they're a little bit difficult to make because not everyone can balance the tone correctly in that type of a movie, but I was still excited to see what this movie had to offer. And the film I'm going to be discussing today is Let the Wrong One In. Let the Wrong One In is directed by Conor McMahon. 16-year-old Matt is a little too nice for his own good, and when he discovers that his older estranged brother Deco has turned into a vampire, he's faced with a dilemma. Will he risk his own life to help his sibling, with blood being thicker than water, or will he stake him before he spreads the infection further? I love vampire movies, especially when they're not taken too seriously. There are some great serious vampire movies, but I feel like it's been done over and over and over again that unless you're doing something really unique and original, I like seeing more comedic tone in that type of a material. So I was really excited to see what this movie had to offer, and for the most part I was pleasantly surprised with this movie. I don't think it's perfect. I definitely think it has some problems, but I do think it was a really enjoyable experience. So as the film states, you have Matt, who is a 16-year-old kid that lives at home with his single mom, and he's just trying to live his day-to-day life, and his brother Deco, who has been kind of pushed on the outskirts of the family, implied that he has been addicted to drugs, kind of just done nothing really special with his life or anything that important, comes back into the picture. His mom doesn't want him there. His mom doesn't want Matt to have anything to do with him. And so one day he shows up at the house and he's like, hey, you gotta let me in. You gotta let me in. And he lets him inside, and when he comes in, you see that he's got bite marks on his neck and that he's been turned into a vampire. And so Matt has to decide, do I help him out or do I let him go? And that was a really cool part of the film that really added a little bit more of an emotional core to it. I don't think that it lays too heavy into it to where it comes off as like sappy or like the emotions aren't authentic. I do think they do a really good job of playing into that story, and obviously vampirism can be looked at as an allegory for drug addiction, needing something so much that it causes harm to other people, just similarly to drug addiction, where you have people that are addicted to drugs that constantly want to borrow money from family, consistently let family members down, and families trying to help as much as they can, or families just thinking that it's not their problem. And I always think that's a really interesting subject matter to cover, and one that's difficult to cover, but this movie does a really great job with it because of just how funny it is. If I compared this to anything, I would say it's very similar to Edgar Wright's style, just not always 100% as funny as Edgar Wright's films. I feel like a lot of the quick editing decisions in this movie and the way that the camera moved, especially in like action sequences, how the camera was also an addition to the comedic punch and where it would fall, I was really appreciative of that. And I think it takes a specific type of filmmaker to accomplish that type of filmmaking, and it was really entertaining to see this movie. The two brothers have a really great rapport with one another. The estranged brother's girlfriend is really over the top and funny. There's a couple other characters that are introduced that really just add to the plot being really silly and funny and goofy. And the biggest thing that this movie is, more than anything else, is charming. Everyone gives such a great performance, and the characters are so interesting to watch that it really makes for a charming experience. And I just recently talked about the film Sorry About the Demon that was released on Shudder, which kind of fell apart. The humor didn't really land well. This movie is exactly what that movie was trying to do, except it's talking about vampires. It handles it so much better. It's so much more interesting. Like I said, it's about an hour and 40-minute runtime. There's some moments where I found myself being pulled out of it a little bit, where I was like, okay, you probably could have trimmed up here and here and here, but I still really enjoyed watching this one. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it'll take you by surprise if you have a Shudder subscription. It's one of the most fun things I've watched on the platform in quite some time, and I think you'll appreciate it as well. Have you seen Let the Wrong One In? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was a lot of fun. It's not anything super unique or original. It definitely is very similar to a lot of styles that already exist, but it's really charming and funny and has a lot of personality, and I think you'll really appreciate it. As always, if you like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. As always, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.